Pete Moore, one of PCM Guns, and yes, this is an air rifle, PCP, pre-charged pneumatic. If people send me stuff to test, if it's a shotgun, if it's a knife, if it's an air gun, or whatever, I do it. So bear with me please. If you're not into air guns, there you go. A lot more people are air guns than firearms. So what I have here is the Kral Mortal, imported by Right, and so it's a multi-shot PCP, and it's based on what my good friend Pete Wademan would say, sort of the tactical style. This is what the air gunners seem to call these guns. They're usually black, and it's good. Great selling feature, no question about it. So what does the Mortal offer? So it comes in the box. You've got three options, all black. Then you have a flat dark earth where the fore end, lower part of the receiver, and the butt is an FDE, that's light brown that everybody seems to love. And then you have a thing called the Mortal X, which is a great big beast. Both the normal sized guns, they have a 200 bar cylinder and this barrel length, but the Mortal X, it really pushes the barrel length 20 odd inches, and with a commensurate increase in the length of the air cylinder underneath. Now, they seem to be disproportionately heavy given their size. If this was a 2-2 rimfire, then it will be light as a feather. But that's the way it is. For us to start to say, it's not a regulated action, which obviously means that you have a system inside that meters the air, so you get a string of consistent shots, quite a few, which is the trick with PCP, because every time you shoot, you're using air up, which lowers the pressure. Kral say this is good for 70 shots in 177, but that's not bad. So you can pretty much have that sort of confidence. However, when the air gets low, all of a sudden you'll notice a drop in trajectory and a change in accuracy, and that's where, you know, if you're a PCP shooter, you know when to stop and when to fill up, because if you don't, you're just wasting your time and pellets. Price is incredibly good. RRP for the Mortal is $599, for the Mortal FDE $635, and for the Mortal X $635. So that is not too bad for a cool looking modern PCP with pretty much everything going for it. From the box you get AFG angled foregrip. This Picatinny base here is fitted to standard, so you can slide it on there. These are quite useful if you're shooting free-handed. You get two mags, obviously capacities change with caliber, but they've both got little shot indicators, so which is quite nice. So when you're in the aim, you can look up and see how many rounds you've got left. And then you get a pack of accessories. You get a single shot tray, Allen key for adjusting the trigger, and also a trigger shoe, a couple of washers, and a quick detachable Foster type connector. You have a side folding stock, pretty much it's a car 15 type. It's telescopic. This lever here, you press it, slides backwards and forwards as you need to. This is an adjustable comb, which is great. Press this button, the comb comes up, goes down, stock just under that catch, and you're there with it. Overall length is 840 to 920 millimeters, obviously depending on where the stock is set, and then folded it's 620, which makes it really nice and compact for carriage, which is a good idea. Moving forward, you have an AR-15 type pistol grip. It's rubber, quite thick, hand filling, and it's got a fingerboard here, and it's a good grip. It really is. Safety catch is simple, manual, safe, fire. It's reasonably well positioned. Trigger has a shoe. You can adjust it for height and angle, and also you can take the action out and you can adjust the weight. But it came from the box, nicely set up, so I have no complaints. I've left it alone. It's a side lever action, which I really like. I don't like PCPs that use a bolt. Never have done. Always found them very weird. But the side action, which has become more popular these days, I've got both my HW11 110 and my FX Wildcat, both have side actions, and I just love them to bits. Right, Kral do a FAC version of this action. This is not one of them. But what you have here is your standard air pressure gauge. Recommended fill is 200 bar. At the front of the Action there's an integral Picatinny section which you can use for whatever you want to. You can put a bipod back here, it's up to you. But literally just lift it up, as you can see, there it is there. We have this big chunky aluminium forend that just covers up the pressure cylinder here. It's quite big. And at the front end you have what looks like a Foster connector. Goes back, slides back on. There is a Picatinny rail here which comes with the rifle, which you can put a bipod on or whatever you want to do. The muzzle is not threaded, it actually stops just at the end of this what I would call a dummy expansion cylinder, and removing this nut reveals a 1/2x20 UNF thread. So you need a moderator, and on most PCPs you do, because they're bloody noise and they crack like hell. To the other side of the rifle you have a split bridge here. This is where the magazines go, so you'd need 2 separate mounts, otherwise you won't be able to get the magazines in unless you have a high one-piece mount, but this is fine for this. Here you see plus and minus, and if you saw that silver drum the other side, you turn it, if you can see that, minus, plus, and it increases or decreases the power. When I first used this I didn't realise it had this, and I was firing away and I couldn't believe I couldn't get the thing zeroed because the pellets were dropping so much, and then I remembered that it had a power adjuster on it. This will not take it over 12 foot-pounds. I think Kral say these guns, the non-FAC guns, are rated at 11.8 foot-pounds or thereabouts, and so if you want to practice you can save air and go to the minus figure, which is about 6 foot-pounds, but I honestly can't see the point. If you're shooting a rifle and you've got it set up for an energy, a speed, whatever, a pellet, then you might as well shoot it as you intend to. Let's face it, pellets aren't that expensive compared to real ammunition, and if you've got a PCP you're pretty much going to buy a bottle, so you've got a lot of refills on it. Barrel length is 410mm. The guns are available in 177 and 22. They say a shot count of 70 shots in 177. Magazine capacity is 14 in 177, 12 in 22. Magazine is a cassette type with a basically you slide off the front cover, fill it in the usual way, and put it back in the gun. As you can probably see, there's a counter. These magazines empty, so it's on 0. So when you're actually in the aim, as we'll see, you can actually see the number of shots you've got left, which is quite good. Turning it round, as you can probably see, there's like a moulded in line there, like a guideline. So insert the magazine. So what you do, magazines go in from the right to the left with this line facing forward, as so. Cock the gun, align the little tag, push it through, locks in place. Just push out to take rid of. The good thing is when you're empty, the action won't go forward, so you don't fire an empty shot. So then if you want it out, push it out such, that's it. What I did find a bit strange, if you've got a similar setup to the magazine, there's a breech section here. So what you've got to do is offer these up with this moulded line backwards, which engages with a slot in there like so. And they go in and hold like that. Now that's reasonably secure, but you can actually push it out quite easily. The second one, it goes in exactly the same way, but it does slide in, but if you look, it is a little bit on the loose side, it can come up quite easily, so just bear that in mind. I would not, if I was out in the field with this gun, I wouldn't trust the magazine retention system. I like the idea of having rounds on the gun, but only if my magazine hasn't dropped out by accident halfway down the range. As we can see, the counter's at 0, and you can see there's an arrow on the back plate which you rotate this cover as such. So if you follow it down, we're there. get the cover, rotate it all the way around, until it stops, like so. You take the first pellet and drop it in, like so, and then you go back one, nose down, next one. This little tap, because what happens sometimes, the rear of the skirt catches and it won't allow the faceplate to move back round, for obvious reasons, because they're too proud in the chambers. Right, that is now full, and if you look here, you can see it says 14, so that's ready to rock and roll. Okay, let's crack off a few shots. Mag goes in, round end first. You engage the little aligning lug, push it across and it locks in. Action closed. Safety catch is on. I put a moddy on this one because it is a bit cracky. So, let's see where we go. On to fire. See, much quieter. Okay, that was it. I had a couple of issues with some of the pellets not sitting quite right. These Superdomes may be a tad short for the magazine in terms of overall length, I don't know. But I'm just mucking around with 25 yards and there's little tiny bits of clay pigeon there, ½ inch, ¼ inch, that sort of thing. Just blown away, so it's accurate enough. We'll do a bit of target accuracy in a minute, but can't say that I'm upset. What I love about air guns, PCPs, as speaking as a firearm shooter, is the fact they're cold system. There's no heat as such. Okay, they will get hot sitting out in the sun, but if I was shooting 14 rounds through a rifle, then I'd probably get 3 out of it before I got heat haze coming off the barrel and obscuring my sight picture, and that's what I quite like about them. But it feels good. It's a little bit workmanlike in places. I'm not totally convinced by this magazine storage, and I say that you need to sort of work out what pellets your magazine actually likes. So I've had a couple of hang fires where it hasn't fed through, and also when loading, I would recommend that perhaps you get like a little plastic sort of pusher that can just go in and push into the hollow cavity of the skirt and push the pellet into the rotor, so you don't damage it with a key or something metallic. But I like it. I mean, I think it's one of those guns that people will enjoy. They look pretty good. I like this look of gun. I love sort of high-tech, hard metal sort of thing, and a lot of people do. And at $599, call it 600 quid, or if you're going to get the Mortal X with the longer barrel and longer air chamber, or the flat dark earth, doesn't really matter. I reckon that Kral have come out with a pretty good rifle. So there's a few sort of little rough spots on it, but for the money you cannot complain, and as ever, like most well-made PCPs, it's going to shoot. Okay, scores on the doors. From a 14 shot string using the RWS 8.3 gram field line, high was 788 feet per second, low was 780, standard deviation of 4 feet per second, average was 784. Pretty good figures. That gave an average energy figure of 11.51 foot-pounds. So near to the limit. It's on a hot day, so no problems going over. Group was 0.271. which is just over 1/4 inch, which I thought was good. I actually shot better when I was testing this before, but this is the one that came on the day, so I would say with care and the right pellets it's a good 1/4 inch gun, which is impressive. That was shot at 25 yards. Shot count wise, I started off at 200 bar and I shot 64 pellets, which stopped at 120 bar, and then things just start to tail off, but I suppose that's not too bad at all. 4 less than quoted. I tried another flat nose pellet before, but it didn't work, didn't feed at all, just didn't shoot worth anything, so I stuck with what I know. As I say, I use these in my H3-110 with great success on pests and just general target shooting. Figures aren't bad for a gun that's not regulated. I think that general spread is pretty good, and it returns a reasonable shot count for the fill. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. That was my first air gun test as such. Bear with me if I missed anything, so I'm sure the rivet counters out there will happily remind me if I have, but we'll see some more of these things because I do like them. Don't worry, I'm not going to flood the channel with them, just saying I do like them. So, thanks for looking in. Tell your friends if you liked it. Tell me, pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com, and I'll see you later with more stuff. And as ever, shoot safe, be safe, shoot straight.